is October 1st and opening day here in Iowa. I really couldn't be any more excited for this season. I'm not sure I've ever been more prepared for a season. Just the off-season work, shooting the bow, running cameras. You know, I really feel prepared for this year, so it should be a fun one. We've definitely got some good deer to chase around. And, you know, number one on the hit list is definitely the firebuck. If you guys can remember back to last year, that's my number one target last year as well. And this year he threw a big drop tine, and he's got a flyer as well. So I was out actually doing a little scouting last week, and I ran into him. He was about 100 yards away from me, and I filmed him for about 15 minutes. He just went out and laid in this big alfalfa field right at last light. So he's still around, and he's close by, and man, is he a mature deer. He's such a cool. Old bucks are so cool. Just watching their mannerisms. He just reminded me of a herd bull elk. Just walked around and controlled the herd and then laid out in the middle of everything, so. But for now, I'm just gonna hang tight and see what the night brings. I'm sitting over 2 of our freshly hit scrapes that I've got a camera on, so should be a fun night. There's been some nice bucks in the area, and with any luck, we'll lay our eyes on more. Alright, well, we got a little bit over an hour left. And, no deer so far. But, as I mentioned, that scrape is fresh, and this big cold front, I figure something will be hitting it at some point. It's definitely a pins and needle type hunt, so I'm gonna keep it down. All right, well, we're all geared up for tonight's hunt. It is October 2nd, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update about last night's hunt. Super quiet, like I said, pins and needles type of deal, so that's why I couldn't get with you guys back in the tree. But I had a good sit. I saw, I think, 3 or 4 different little bucks. Nothing big. You know, you're hunting one deer, you only need to see the one deer. So tonight's hunt is a little bit different. I'm actually going to the food plot that I planted this summer, and I'm expecting to see a lot of deer for a change, which is nice. So the wind switched from northwest to southwest. Obviously the pressure's dropping, and it's getting warmer. So the temperatures aren't as favorable tonight, but it still should be a good sit on the food plot, and hoping to see a lot of deer. All right, well, we just got settled in here to the stand. Like I said, October 2nd today, and a little bit warmer than last night, but as to be expected with these early season conditions. We're on this food plot next to a white oak flat behind us, so there should be a lot of does using this tonight. I think it's gonna be a really good pre-rut spot, just with the number of does I've seen on camera that have been using this with a lot of consistency. So Tonight's more of just an observation sit, see how the deer are using this farm. Like I said, this is only my really first ever sit on this farm. So every time you learn these permission farms, it's always a fun challenge of figuring out how the deer are using the properties. So the plot looks good. Some of the spots I should have fertilized, and I definitely overseeded, but they're on the south side of the plot. It's like the brassicas are huge, so super pumped with the first year. Next year I have some things that I wish I would have done differently, just in terms of fertilizing it and spreading the right rate. So we're gonna hang tight, and hopefully we'll start seeing deer before too long. Well, it's just after 5 here, and got the first doe in the plot, so she came from the south, exactly where I was expecting them to come from, and it's pretty cool to sit there and watch her eat the brassicas. So. The wind is swirling like crazy right now. It's supposed to be straight south, but there's deer coming from every direction, and I think they're all getting a little whiff of me, so. Probably wondering why I'm not shooting them. Most of that reason is because it's pretty hot. It's only going to be 75 tonight, so you have to find a way to freeze them. And I would just rather not deal with that right now, so I could come back in here again and put the smack down on some. Obviously we need to. There's a bunch in here, but we're gonna hang tight. Hopefully deers keep falling out. Well, that's gonna wrap this episode up. I'm not sold on what format I'm gonna do for this year, whether I post individual hunts or if I just keep stacking hunts like I did in this episode. So if you guys have any feedback, let me know. But one thing I wanted to talk about that I thought was super cool, and kind of the whole point of this episode, was just to show that encounter with the flyer buck. He's either 6.5 or 7.5 this year, and he's thrown his best rack by far. He's a huge, mature body deer, and he's like a herd bull. He just walks everywhere, and he's dominant, and he looks like he owns the timber, and that's the coolest part about hunting mature bucks. It's just like a different animal. And, you know, even last year, he had a lot of those aggressive mannerisms. Carson and I rattled him in, and he came in running. And then, you know, there was a few different times where we saw him. He was making really aggressive scrapes. And you don't get that mannerism with every deer. So if it's not the fact that he weighs 300 pounds, he's aggressive as all get out. And, you know, that's one of the ways we really define these mature bucks. But that's pretty much going to wrap up tonight. If I see anything else, I'll show you guys. But I appreciate you watching. And as always, thanks for the support.